Yesterday, God works in mysterious ways. She was arrested, released.
You
She
sound like
said
she doesn't have all her teeth.
this is the demons that are in her, the spirits that follow her, was able to change her butt cheeks. So maybe they'll stop following her now, she said.
Yeah, well, hopefully she gets the help she needs.
I pray she does.
Whatever, I do what I want.
Oh, he's such a cutie.
Police department! It's the police department, it's not Chad!
This body cam was recorded the night before Steve Riley's death. Steve and Ina's drunken neighbor had been harassing them and other residents of the neighborhood, so Ina called 911 to de-escalate the situation. What makes this specific footage interesting is not the situation with their drunken neighbor, but rather what Ina would tell police after. Her $37 million inheritance fund that she's just hours away from cashing in.
Sorry.
You thought it was Chad?
Yeah.
Who was Chad on?
Trying to kick in everybody's door.
Who was he
He
out here
busted in my light. Look at the garbage cans.
Who was he fighting with out here?
My fiance went for a walk, cool down.
Who's your fiance?
Steve Riley.
Steve Riley?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your name?
I'm Ina.
Okay. Is your fiance hurt at all?
He got gash on his forehead.
Okay. You know, we just want to talk with him too, just to make sure he's all right if possible. There's blood all the way over there. That's good. So what actually happened tonight? What were they fighting over?
Chad was trying to kick in the door.
Just for no reason, or just
drunk? He does that.
Where do you think your fiance would have went, so we could just give his side of the story real quick?
Oh, I don't know.
So you got a phone on him?
No, we don't have a phone until this afternoon.
But this is where Ina reveals something she shouldn't have. Their plans to pay off all of their bills, which had over the years been racking up. And she does this for one reason: to brag.
He gets his inheritance this afternoon. That's why we're moving. We're going to pay all our bills off that we need to pay off. His lawyer gets here today at 2. To sign the paperwork for his money.
Okay.
And then he's going to go pay that. And his lawyer going to pay the rest of his child support. And then take a long vacation.
According to Ina, Steve is set to receive an inheritance from his late uncle tomorrow, which supposedly is enough money to turn their lives around completely. What police don't realize at this time is how enormous this inheritance sum really is. In 2016, Steve's friend had received a call from a man named Marcus Riley, who claimed to be Steve's long-lost uncle from Ireland. He had explained that he finally wanted to get in touch with his nephew, Steve. After connecting with each other, Steve had learned he was in line to receive an inheritance upon his uncle's passing, which was a sum of over $17 million at the time. This was enough to permanently fix the financial struggles he and Ina had been dealing with. A couple of years later, 4 months prior to the footage.
Okay, uncle with a coin. But look at them and the way they live, you know, looks like if he was a businessman or something like that, I mean, y'all need to do more than just talk. Y'all need to also like groom him so that he can make some better decisions. And is that his girlfriend or his wife? I think it's his wife, right? Yeah, his ex-wife. Okay, or evil wife, I'm sorry.
You just watched, Steve would learn of his uncle's passing from a British lawyer who had contacted him. Additionally, he would learn that his $17 million inheritance had grown to over $30 million due to his uncle's successful investments over the years. That's why Ina cannot hold herself from boasting to the police. Tomorrow, they plan to meet with their lawyer to officially sign the documents and claim the $30 million inheritance fund. The two plan to take the money and live with Steve's long-lost family in Ireland, quote, living in the castles. In less than 24 hours, Ina will be rich. So as officers leave for the night, Ina would make one final statement about how her life was about to change forever.
If you want to step back inside of if Steve shows back up, we're going to try to look for him and get his side of the story as well. But if Steve shows back up, if you just want to give us a call or have him give us a call, we'll talk to him then, okay?
Yeah, he's going to stop by anyways, like I said.
Sounds good.
I've only been able to put like $5 on his fines, but at least it was something.
Okay,
But
sounds good.
we're gonna pay it all off all at once.
Perfect. Thank you.
Steve would return to his and Ina's apartment that night, and the two would patiently wait, not being able to sleep, as they counted down the hours until they would receive their millions. The plan to receive the funds was simple. At 2 p.m., the group would go to the airport to meet their lawyer, who was flying in with their inheritance paperwork. Ina and Steve obliged and would arrive at the airport alongside their two friends, Billy and Wes, before patiently waiting. However, while they were waiting for the lawyer's arrival, Steve would become extremely sick. He would claim feeling drunk, even throwing up in the airport bathrooms. His heart rate was rapidly increasing, and his condition worsened to the point where Wes decided to take him home to help him treat his sickness. Ina would wait at the airport for the lawyer to arrive. However, he would never show up. And after a couple of hours with no lawyer, no money, and a sick fiancé, she would return home as well. Everyone believed that Steve had suffered from a heat stroke as a result of working on his truck for hours that morning. But Steve's symptoms were far more fatal than the heat strokes he had received in the past, even experiencing fatal signs of kidney failure throughout the night. And in the morning, Steve would become completely unresponsive, forcing Ina to call 911.
911,
What?
Your emergency.
My husband's really sick. He got heat stroke yesterday, and now he's not waking up. And come on, wake up!
What's the phone number you're calling from?
I don't have a phone number. It's a phone that never got finished getting set up. Come on, babe.
He's breathing. Is he snoring?
I've been trying everything. Ice, water.
Okay, but he is breathing?
Yes, he's snoring. He won't talk to me anymore. He won't look at me. He won't open his eyes.
Okay,
Hey!
I've got help on the way. Just keep an eye on his breathing, and if anything changes with his breathing, tell me immediately.
Hello?
Yeah. It's Officer Sullivan, Minot PD.
Yeah, hang on.
Inside the home, officers would find Steve fully unresponsive, and they would drag him out of the house through piles of trash and filth. Quickly, he was rushed to the nearest hospital, but with his condition so poor, he would be flown to the St. Alexis Hospital to undergo more professional treatment. After Steve was flown to the hospital, Ina would explain to the officers that Steve had gotten a heat stroke, which caused his illness. The officers had no reason not to believe her story, so they would comfort her throughout the day as Steve was being treated. Unfortunately, Steve would never again regain consciousness. This is Billy Burkhead, Steve and Ina's neighbor, and he was with Steve and Ina the entire day of his sudden sickness, even working on the truck with Steve and traveling with them to the airport. Billy simply refused to believe that Steve's death was caused by heat stroke, especially since Steve seemed perfectly fine all day until they reached the airport. Instead, Billy suspected something far more sinister and wanted to share his theory with the detectives. So, the day after Steve's death, Billy would call officers back to apartment 912A to detail his side of the story.
We think she poisoned him. Oh, I'm almost sure she poisoned him.
So what's your plan right now?
We're making sure nothing goes. Because you know when they go to jail, they die.
I mean,
Clean
how long are you going to stay here?
I'll stay here until the sun gets here.
Oh. When's the sun supposed to get here?
He's not dead. I told you.
Stop!
He's not.
He's dead.
I just told the sun.
And he was poisoned.
Billy's explanation for Steve's death is, well,
He said that right in her face. He is dead and he was poisoned. Excuse me. He believes like you and you did it. Just FYI. And you did it. This is terrible, man. That's his wife. His wife killed him. if this is true, if he really was poisoned by her, she killed him for money. But that also goes to show that if the uncle, because the man never showed up at the airport, so that could have been a hoax. I don't know if it's true or not. But you know, you need to train your family members on even how to deal with money. I mean, the fact that they live in that type of situation. I was looking outside before the cops went in, like, man, they need to straighten up. I mean, if you got time on your hands, you need to clean up outside. That looks bad. And then once you get in, there's crap everywhere. So they look like a bunch of hoarders. Look at the neighbors. I mean, these are not, this is also America. This is the part of America that we don't like to show a lot, but that's also America. And it's bad. And it's just like, if you give someone like that a whole bunch of money, if they didn't kill each other in this type of manner, they would kill each other in another manner, like alcohol poisoning or overdose on drugs or something stupid that causes them to die with a whole bunch of money because they don't know how to handle large sums of money. Like, the uncle doesn't need to just give him money. He needs to give him game on how to live his life, as well as how to make his own money, how to keep this money going so they won't be living from check to check or have a hard time. Clearly their finances aren't that great because it showed that she had over $300,000 in debt. So clearly they don't have great finances because, I mean, why do you have so much debt? It's not like they are, what's the word called? Debt free. It's not like they're debt free. It's not like they're debt free. They have $300,000 worth of debt. So yeah, you get this money, you pay off your debt. All you're going to do is create more debt. And it might be gone within 5 to 10 years, all the money gone, without any way of making sure it continues to come along. It continues to grow, you know, like the investments like the uncle did. He should teach his nephew that. Of course it came now because the man is dead. But then not only that, but I don't know if he's even true. So we need to keep watching to see whether or not this is even a true thing that took place to start with.
Horrifying. If Ina truly did poison Steve, then his symptoms would make sense and would add up far more than the idea of him having a heat stroke. However, why'd
they show the fireball? What? I guess it's the truth. But they had Windex, Mountain Dew, and Fireball on the same little table. Like, I mean, she's photogenic. Look at her picture. She looks better in that photo than what she did in the videos. So she's actually photogenic. She's actually photogenic. I hope she didn't kill him. His friends does seem like loyal friends though, because he's like, we're gonna stay here till his son show up. Like, we know something shady happened with Steve, and that's my friend, and I'm looking out for him, and that's good. You want real people in your corner. Clearly your girl, she ain't real.
Would Ina want to poison her husband if they were about to live such a good life? Well, Billy seems to have the exact answer to that question.
The other day, she threw all the stuff out in the yard.
From his house?
Yeah, and he come out and he was holding his head down. And then we're supposed to go up to the airport and meet this guy because he's supposed to get quite a bit of money. Come back, we had to help him out of the car, had to help him in the house. And everything was fine until he come home. And then the next morning, she's throwing all this stuff out. She was supposed to call the ambulance. She never called the ambulance.
Billy thinks that Ina was secretly planning to split with Steve after the inheritance was received, even going so far as to throw his belongings out of the house after they returned from the airport. Even worse is that Ina lied about getting help for Steve after they returned from the airport, pretending to take him to get treated, when in reality, they never left the house. Unfortunately, Ina overheard all of this talk and decided to give Billy a piece of her own mind.
I'm taking off. I'm not worried about my husband.
Hey, stay out here. Hey, stay out here.
I need to take a picture.
Picture of what?
Billy. Here, let's try.
Oh, you can sit on here.
Steve collapsed yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the hospital. found out it's poison.
How'd you find that out?
Doctor told me. I'm just telling your son, don't ever stop after these people. They're nasty people. They're nasty.
Ina coincidentally seemed to put the blame on the neighbors, calling them evil people. It's become more clear that Steve's death was far more sinister than officers had first expected. Officers now had a potential homicide case to investigate, but as they went to leave, one officer accidentally broke the news to Ina that her fiancé had passed away.
I thought that
Fiancé, a fiancé is not a wife. They're not the same thing. So why was she looking at it like it was their money? You know what I mean? Unless they're just telling each other that, because if they're not married to each other, that's not her money. She has no stake in the game because they're not actually married. But she acted as though it was their money, their debt of $300,000 need to get paid off, and their money and how they're about to live high off the hog. But this man just called it a fiancé. That changes everything. And they also said his son. They didn't say their son, his son. So, and she also did say something about child support, being a part of that debt, child support. So I don't know if they have kids together, but she do look shady. I'm not saying she killed her husband. That I don't know, but keep coming out that house without no bra on, your belly out, your hair looking like it split ends all the way up to the root, smoking cigarettes, the house a mess inside and out. What does she do for a living? It looked like Steve got a job because he had on that vest thing. What does she do for a living? And if she's a stay-at-home spouse or friend or partner or whatever you want to call it, that means she got all day to clean up. She has all day to straighten that house up. She ain't got nothing else to do but straighten up the house. It's a mess. But hey, this is America. I know we don't like to talk about it, but it's the truth. That's America too.
everybody knew. I'm sorry.
Trash cans in front of the house.
Oh my God!
I guess the son is on his way here. Okay.
I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs of what's going on. Look how she's looking. She went from one emotion to another. But if that was my husband or my fiance, believe me, baby, I wouldn't be at home right now. I'll be right in the hospital. Unless they say you're not allowed to spend the night or there's like certain hours you're allowed to be there. I would be there with him all the time. That's my man. And something is happening to him. What's going on? But she at home smoking cigarettes. Barefoot. Look at her bare feet. Look at this. The mat not even where it's supposed to be. Just determined not to straighten up. Determined not to have a decent looking house. They clearly have a garage. You just got finished showing it. Why can't those tires be over there in the garage? Is that a flag? Is that the American flag that's leaned up against the, like a sign of the flag, a wooden sign of it? Just, they don't want anything good out of life. They just want to live like nomads.
Apparently the son is on the way here. So.
Son better.
Yeah.
Ina's reaction to her husband's passing is one of the strangest I've ever seen. She's
got a lot of bumps and scars on her arm. I wonder if that means that she's a user. I mean, she could, I don't think it's far-fetched to think she's a user, but her skin, I've seen people like that before, like, you know, that are on drugs and they have a lot of like marks on their arms and legs, just like that. I feel bad for them.
I've ever seen. She starts bawling her eyes out, then suddenly jumps right back to her normal self.
Yeah, emotions
as
just
if she hadn't even heard the terrible news to begin with. It's becoming more and more clear that something is not adding up. Billy was not the only person to initially put the blame on Ina. In fact, he was only one of many who would come forward with their concerns. In fact, Billy's wife, Lynn, had stated that Ina had made horrifying statements in the past, alluding that if she was to ever kill her partner, she would poison him using an antifreeze. To add to the pile of already incriminating information, Steve would be tested for ethylene glycol in his bloodstream, a key ingredient in antifreeze. To nobody's surprise, the results showed toxic levels of ethylene glycol in his system. This information would serve as the catalyst for initiating a formal homicide investigation into the death of Steve Riley. Following the commencement of the investigation, a series of intensive interrogations would be conducted with all parties connected to the incident, including Ina, to ultimately solve Steve's murder. However, before that, Ina would launch a plan of her own. It must have been made apparent to her that she was in hot water, as the day after this encounter with the police, she would call them back to apartment 912A to explain theories of her own.
Hi.
Yeah. He came up.
Okay, what's going on?
I don't know.
We've been here.
He keeps trying to make a speech truck
Where's the truck at?
in the garage.
Is this the paperwork on the thing?
No. This is property that Steve was buying after his inheritance got here. I think he left it to his son, but I had to Google where to go to get his inheritance switched over to the people he...
Yeah, I don't trust her. No. I believe this is all in the same day. You just found out that he's passed away, and you go looking up property that he was interested in purchasing, Google information on how to go about and getting the inheritance so that you can get it switched over. What do you care for? You're not his wife. You're not in the family. I doubt that they have any children, because if they do, why are you only talking about his son instead of y'all children or child? So why do you care? Why are you so invested? He just died. Why is your mind thinking about material things? Like, something is very shady about this lady. I'm trying to reserve my judgment to think that she killed him. You know, I want to try to see like all things involved. Excuse me, because there are more people involved. Just like as Jeff showing that they had like 4 people they're interrogating, plus 4 people went to the airport to get the money. It wasn't just her and Steve. It was also Billy and some other dude. So it makes you wonder, you know, who could have done this? You know what I'm saying? It's not like she was the only one with them. And then not only that, but I've heard already about people putting antifreeze in people's food or drinks or something like that. I don't know. And I think it was something, maybe it wasn't just antifreeze. Maybe it was something else. I don't know what it was. But what I'm not understanding is like, how do you not know? Like, does it not have a taste or something like that? Do you guys know the answer to that? I mean, I guess I could Google it, but I actually don't want to Google it. It might be bad. I don't know about you think that I'm in a prostitute. I love my baby. But like how does that happen? Like, can't you taste it? Like, don't you be like, this food is nasty. I don't want no more because it tastes so nasty. You know what I mean? Or does it like not have a taste or smell or something like that? That's crazy. Like, how do you get away with something like that? Or was she feeding him while drunk and stuff like that? Because they do look like the kind of people who will get wasted. Do you understand? It's not just a neighbor. Remember, she said she thought it was Chad or something like that. The next door neighbor that gets drunk and come knocking on their door or messing around or whatever. You know, if you drunk like that, I don't think you're going to really pay attention to things. So I don't know. But either way, like, I don't even know Steve, but a human life is worth more than $37 million. His life matters. If you were to say, hey, Steve, I'm going to give you $37 million, but this is the kicker. You got to die. But guess what? Your family and friends will have some money. Steve would most likely turn that down. His life means more to him than $37 million for y'all to have. Personally, I think everybody's life is like cherished, and you should not be offing people just because you want a dollar bill.
Left too. I don't know. The day he was supposed to meet his lawyer, apparently, I thought it was heat stroke. Apparently, he was poisoned. I'm finding out with antifreeze.
All right.
And I don't know how to get a hold of the guy in London with his inheritance. He should be here in town. He never showed up at the airport. So, yeah. Trying to figure out why.
Ina seems to conspire to the idea that Steve may have drank the antifreeze himself, or that someone may have poisoned him. However, despite all the suspicion being thrown her way, she can only stay on track for minutes before going back on tangents about her inheritance fund. It was clear at this point that somebody had poisoned Steve. The idea of that track for minutes.
Like, it's not even hers, it's his. And why did she see herself before his blood? I get you're the fiance. So to a degree, he's gonna share with you. But he's got a child. Shouldn't your kids come before your fiance? Now they haven't said their I do. Now, if you say I do, then ain't nobody who comes before your spouse. But the children should come before the fiance. I mean, they could break up, but you just gonna get some anyway? No, that's Steve's money. That's his family member. The uncle left it for his nephew, not for his nephew's jump off or for his nephew's fiance.
Before going back on tangents about her inheritance fund. It was clear at this point that somebody had poisoned Steve. The idea of this being self-inflicted was unlikely, as Steve had a life-changing amount of money waiting for him, and would have had to drink the antifreeze just hours before going to claim the cash. Clearly, Ina can be made out as the lead suspect due to the amount of fingers being pointed her way, but the other potential suspects should not be ruled out either. With this in mind, officers would bring their first suspect in for questioning, Rebecca. Rebecca was another neighbor of Ina and Steve's, who was very involved with the entire case so far, pitching her opinion to police whenever she could. Rebecca was brought in primarily to add to the pile of evidence to confront Ina with later, but as the interview would continue, strange red flags would arise from Rebecca's odd personality.
You guys know my daughter.
All of mine.
Yesterday, God works in mysterious ways. She was arrested, released. She said this is the demons that are in her, the spirits that follow her, was able to change her butt cheeks. So maybe they'll stop following her now, she said.
Yeah, well, hopefully she gets the help she needs.
I pray she does.
Did she just say they were able to change her butt cheeks? I'm sorry. You know what? That's what they meant by odd behavior. I think all of them are odd, in my opinion. That's just me. But change your butt cheeks. What does that mean? What is going on here? Now, I believe in demon possession for sure. Not just demons, spiritual possession. I think you can be possessed by angels as well, possessed by the Holy Spirit. I believe that spirits can possess you, good or bad. But so that's not weird in my eyes. What's weird is the fact that she said the demons and spirits that follow her changed her butt cheeks. I got to hear that again. Sorry, guys. That's funny to me. There it is. Was able to change her butt cheeks. And I think she said, y'all already, yeah, you guys know my daughter. Basically, she's not a stranger to law enforcement. I'm wondering, you know, we got to pray for these police officers. They are out here doing some work. I was thinking to myself while they were at that garage, I wonder how bad it smells around there. The conditions that they have to endure. It's got to be hell, man. It has to be hell for them. And then talking to crazy people, talking out the side of their neck, acting crazy. It's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And how do they do their mental unload? Like, how do they data dump? You know, how do they, keep themselves from going crazy with all the things that they have to endure visually, verbally, spiritually?
My daughter.
Yeah, how's she doing?
Yesterday, God works in mysterious ways. She was arrested, released.
She sounds like she doesn't have all her teeth.
This is the demons that are in her, the spirits that follow her, was able to change her butt cheeks. So maybe they'll stop following her now, she said.
Yeah, well, hopefully she gets the help she needs.
I pray she does.
Starting off a homicide interview explaining how demons left your daughter's butt is an interesting way of proving your innocence. But the detective isn't here to judge, rather, to get to the bottom of Steve's death. So he'll ignore these strange remarks.
Obviously, it sounds like you might know some things.
I'm a nosy neighbor.
It's good. I like it.
Well, I know what cars belong, what cars don't, who lives in my neighborhood, who doesn't.
Yeah.
So yes.
That's good. Word is passing just because it sounds like maybe there's something.
Yeah, I tell you all I know, whatever I know.
How long have Steve and Ina lived there that you know of?
Approximately 2 years.
Okay. How was their relationship that you know?
The first year Steve was looking great, doing great. The past year, I don't know if she suffers from mental illness at times, but her mental state went downhill the past year.
Okay.
When you lose weight, when you're not acting right, shady stuff going on, you're not working. Yes, he was.
Okay.
And it got worse the past.
She said, and when you're not working, which goes in line with what I was saying earlier. If she's not working, which it doesn't seem like she has a career. She does not look like a career woman. She doesn't even look like she has a job. So if you have nothing to do all day, every day, you could be cleaning that house. Her mental state's not right. You have got to be mentally bonkers to live in that type of filth inside and outside your house. That's depressing. I would feel depressed if I have to look at that all the time. No, it would have to get cleaned up. But see, that starts within. That's a mental thing. Her mental state is not right. This lady on it. I mean, she might be off, but she on. She on it.
Couple months.
It seems as though Steve's life wasn't as straightforward as initially thought, having drug issues, weight loss, and possibly depression. Whether or not Ina was a large contributor to these deteriorating issues is something they will soon learn, as this interview would become a pivotal piece of evidence, laying the groundwork to dismantle her defense entirely during the interrogation.
You said it got worse the past couple months.
You think likely that theme,
probably,
like, whatever. Okay.
Yes.
What do you think she was using?
Yeah.
Okay.
And alcohol use too.
Okay.
Yes.
Both of them with
Yeah.
alcohol? Okay. So Steve had mentioned before, like in the past, about getting money.
Yes.
How many? Like
2 million.
The amount Steve had planned to receive was something he kept very secret, often lying to people like Rebecca on how much he was actually getting. As we'll soon find out, this number was much, much larger than 2 million.
His uncle passed away. Yes. First, he said he was going to leave it to Ina, and then they were fighting. And a couple months later, he said he went back and changed the will. He told me, he was like, "Don't tell Ina, but I changed it."
This statement from Rebecca would explain what Ina was talking about last time she spoke to police, and how she was
If there's any truth to it, then it makes sense as to why she thinks that's her money. Because he's made these promises, and I'm more than sure it's because she's pressuring him to do so. You know what I mean? And like him saying that he was getting $2 million, which was far less than what he was getting, but telling people to a degree, excuse me, to a degree, I can understand it, because if they plan to stay in the same area, people are going to realize you guys came up somehow, because they're going to be able to afford things that they weren't able to afford before. So by telling them we got a piece of money will help make sense in the nosy neighbors' minds as to why they're living better than what they once were. But also telling them less is good, because then maybe they won't ask for too much. You know what I mean? You know your neighbors are going to ask for something. But I don't know. But this makes sense as to why she saw it as their money or her money.
trying to switch the will over from Steve's son to herself. If Ina discovered his plan, It would have given her a strong incentive to do whatever it took to change the will back in her favor, possibly by any means necessary.
Because it started 5 months and he told me, yeah, I got a will. I'm leaving everything to Ina if something happens.
But like, that don't make any sense, because if your fiance passes away, that does not legally entitle you to an inheritance. Because they never said the words "I do," the money naturally goes to his next of kin. A fiance is not kin. What do you guys think? Put it in the comment section below. Maybe she just wasn't making any sense because she's a drug user, an alcoholic, and she's mentally unstable. So maybe in her mind it made sense, but in our minds who are sober, we think like, girl, what the heck are you talking about? You got to say "I do" first before you can get your hands on that thing. You need to say "I do." She could be thinking to herself like, I'm the one who with him all the time. His son don't even live here. You know how people think. Always got a high mind, full of pride. I'm the one who have to lay with him. I'm the one who has to cook for him. I'm the one who's here with him. I should come before his son. He hasn't even seen his son in the last. People think like that. So I'm wondering if that had anything to do with it.
And then it seemed like 2 months after that, he's like, that ain't getting Milton. Because she's a bitch.
Okay. So that was the thing.
Yeah. That's how yeah.
Was he ever talking about leaving Ina?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to get this money and leave her, get my own place, so I'll go back to California.
Okay.
I met her son last night.
Oh, okay. Her son came?
No, I'm sorry, his son. Steve's son.
Yeah.
Well,
that's okay.
He flew in. He came up to my apartment, but as he's leaving, she came up, knocked on my door.
When he was up?
Yeah,
okay.
To get him. I think she was nervous. It was like she was pissed he was up there. And then she's like, I just want to let you know I found the will papers.
So she said in front of you that she found will papers?
Yes. Yep.
Ina clearly had become obsessed with the idea that she was about to live the life of her dreams with Steve's inheritance. But after rumors of Steve leaving her, it seems Ina became terrified that she might not receive the funds and would be stuck with her depressive living conditions. It's now become obvious how these events and Steve's strange death could be correlated to one another. However, as Rebecca had stated herself, she was a nosy neighbor, looking for any rumors or conspiracy theories to help solve the neighborhood drama. I've also cut out over 40 minutes of completely false information Rebecca gave to detectives, which certainly doesn't add to her authenticity. In order to further confirm the accuracy of these claims, 2 more reliable sources would be brought in the following day: Steve's son Ryan and Billy Burkhead. If anyone would be able to give proper insight into Steve's life, it would be these 2, as they were by far the closest people to Steve.
We're assigned the case of your dad's passing. You're really the only next of kin that maybe had a relationship with your dad, it sounds like?
Yeah.
Okay. Did he ever talk to you about Ina when you guys talked to him last year?
Yeah. He was talking about how he was getting a large sum of money and he kind of just wanted to leave her because she didn't really have a job and was like leeching off of them.
Did Steve ever talk about leaving Ina?
All the time.
Okay.
Every day. She talked about poisoning Steve and me because we're always together and she didn't like that. And I don't know how much it was. It's supposed to be, it's way up there in the money. It was like 20-something million. Best thing you can do is to get on a plane and don't look back.
Yeah.
I said, that's the best thing you can do.
Almost every piece of information the detectives receive leads straight to Ina as the killer. It also makes sense why Ina hated Billy and Steve's son so much, as they knew far more information than she would have liked about the inheritance and her schemes to obtain it. These interviews wouldn't last long, as detectives got all the information they needed from the 2 and could directly confront Ina with it. But before leaving, they would break disturbing news to Ryan, which would make this case even more of a terrible tragedy.
So this inheritance now, I'm thinking that's the same thing we're thinking. Which, I mean, I don't, obviously don't know for sure, but by all accounts of looking at it, it looks like it's a scam. Looks like it's a I mean, the letter has different fonts in it and things. And so, and the fact that your dad had gone there several times to meet some lawyer, never showed up to the airport.
That and all the emails that they tried to send back to the sender of those emails, it always came back undeliverable.
The inheritance was a scam. Steve had lived for the past 7 years under the impression that if he just patiently waited, living through his terrible living conditions, he would come out with more money than he could dream of and finally enjoy life. Even worse was that this very scam that stagnated his life for years may have been the cause of his very own death. With such a pity of a case, detectives would go on to interview a handful of other suspects in order to get as much information as they possibly could to help break down Ina's defense. And after multiple days of interviews, the day finally came to confront Ina with everything they've gathered.
That's what I thought. I thought it was a scam or something, because I'm thinking, like, look at Steve's lifestyle. Like, look at dude. Look how dirty he is. Look how poor he is. Downtrodden. It's not just an outside thing, it's an inside thing. He's a drug user, he's an alcoholic, he's got problems. And if you really have this much of a successful uncle, why wouldn't he teach him? You mean tell me I love you enough to leave my inheritance to you, but I don't love you enough to help you change your mind, your thinking? Because we are our decisions. We are the way we think. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So dude needs a change of heart. I mean, look at who he chooses to be with. This is his fiance. And they're claiming he didn't want to be with her anymore. If that be the case, then why are you still with her? Why you ain't dropped her a long time ago? And she thinking the same thing about him. Don't want to be with him anymore. Let me get this money so I can run up out of here. They don't want to be with each other. That's sad. I thought it was a scam. I'm thinking, like, he don't have no uncle that got money like that. And if he do, why hasn't his quality of life improved? That's sad. Die for nothing.
But despite all this evidence against her, officers knew they would have a hard time prosecuting Ina without a confession or incriminating statements. And that's exactly what they were determined to get. Inside this cut down 1.5-hour interview, you'll see some of the most clever interrogation tactics I've ever shown on this channel, slowly dismantling Ina's story until all she has left is an incoherent string of lies.
So, like I said, we had been just talking to everyone, like Billy, Russ, everybody that kind of just knew Steve, just to get an idea of like what was going on in his life. So, you and Steve were in a relationship.
Yep.
Okay. How long had you guys been together?
13 years.
Okay. Where did you guys meet?
Homeless shelter.
In
buffet dinner.
In North Dakota?
Washington.
In Washington. Okay.
The detectives would.
They're not homeless no more. So they've improved to a certain degree, right? They got a place to stay. 13 years is a long time to be with somebody and haven't even married them. That's long.
Go on to get more information about Ina and Steve's early relationship, but it wouldn't last long before Ina would start conspiring against Billy and others she wanted to paint as suspects.
And I begged him to, stay away from him. We've even gotten into fights.
To stay away from Lynn?
Billy and Lynn. And
okay.
I don't like calling people nasty. And I've seen they've seen them worse than Steve because he's tall and mean looking. People were intimidated by him.
Okay.
Just by his look.
So why would you want him to stay away from Billy and Lynn?
Because they're really, really nasty people. Okay. Felonies. Breaking into places.
Okay.
I knew they did more than pot. Smoking more than pot.
Did Steve smoke more than marijuana?
No, he's allergic to marijuana.
Okay.
Me.
Did he use other drugs?
Not for the longest time.
Was he using?
No.
Okay. So
no.
He didn't.
After that, after he got the max the last time.
Yep.
He's like, screw this. Okay. I'm gonna just do what I want and want what I want.
Okay. So that's when he started using?
I think so.
Okay.
Using what?
This would be the first of Ina's lies during this interrogation. She knew Steve had been using long before the incident she described, but in order to make Billy seem like the villain in their lives, she wanted to make it seem as though he was the reason for Steve's drug use. Take note of Ina's body language while she clearly lies. She glances up and avoids eye contact, constantly fidgets and scratches her skin, and most notably, stutters and slurs on her speech as she tries to make up a story. Keep this in mind for the rest of the interrogation, and you'll be able to accurately point out when Ina isn't telling the truth. But now, the police...
Now, I don't completely agree with that, man, because I'm currently in perimenopause, okay? And one of the side effects of many is itchy, dry skin. So I'm always scratching, not because I'm lying, but I'm itchy. Not only that, but insomnia is a really big issue with perimenopause. And so since I'm not getting good sleep, I tend to have mental fog. So I always tend to wait like this. There's a form of delay because I'm trying to think of how to say the next word. Like I'll look at things, I'll know inside, but I can't verbally say. Like one time I couldn't remember mustard that you put on your hot dog or hamburger. I was like, the yellow stuff that you put on your food, you know, and I could not remember the word. Not because I'm a liar, but because I just couldn't remember. And this lady's up in age too. She's in a menopausal age. Maybe she does those things too for those same reasons. And also because she's an addict. I'm not an addict, but maybe I could be maybe you can watch my body language and say, is she an addict? Like, nah, man. Menopause. Perimenopause. Sucks, man.
This would ask her perhaps the most intriguing question. What exactly did she plan to do with the inheritance money?
So when did he find out about this inheritance?
I want to say 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
Okay. So what is the inheritance? I know you had shown that first day Lieutenant Dake and I came, you showed us kind of that letter that was on Steve's phone. Mm-hmm. Is that's the inheritance? That was the letter? Okay.
And he was talking to an actual lawyer, I guess.
Okay.
From London.
But so this lawyer reached out to him and said he's...
I guess. I don't even know how he found out about it. It just appeared. And he was reading that the money wasn't...
These scams are getting completely out of order. Like, it's ridiculous how much we get scammed nowadays. Every time you turn around, there's some form of scam happening. And they're becoming more and more sophisticated, more and more professional on how to scam people out of their hard-earned money or something along those lines. It's ridiculous. It's sad.
Cursed or whatever. Every single person that went for the Riley money over there, even this 21-year-old, had passed away.
Clearly, Ina is running out of resources to take suspicion off herself, and the detectives won't take long before making her abundantly aware of how horrible of a liar she is. But for now, they'd like to get some more information on this inheritance, and if Ina would admit to trying to claim it all for herself.
How much money was it?
It was supposed to be 17 million, 17,500,000. So, but with all the property sold off, it ended up being 37 million.
So there was cash and then properties were sold.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I gave all the information.
Who was it supposed to be coming from? Who was the family member?
Marcus something Riley.
Was that a brother or
uncle?
That was an uncle. Okay. Did he live
in Ireland?
Okay. How did it get to, is it starting to be that the lawyer is starting to give him like a time that he's coming to Minot?
Yeah. That's pretty much when he kept saying, I'm going to show up at this time. And Steve would write down there, and he wasn't there. And then you get the email afterwards that he wasn't going to come until later and then later.
Okay.
The detectives would spend the next 25 minutes trying to understand Ina's timeline for the day they planned to receive the inheritance. Whenever she gave a time for when the group went to the airport, she would conveniently change that time entirely, just a few minutes later. But one detail would stay the same. Unlike her original claims to officers on the day of the murder, she would insist that Steve had never gone to the airport, but rather Wes had gone instead to represent Steve. This was confusing, but Ina's reason as to why Steve couldn't make it to the airport would make just as little sense.
Because he was drinking beer all day, he was working in the garage, he was spray painting his truck, you know, with the doors and the windows closed, barely drinking any water.
So he consumed almost a case of beer and...
Oh, he can drink more than that.
Pay attention to Ina here. She's carefully crafting a story to deflect suspicion, but the detectives came prepared.
I've seen him drink a couple cases.
But on that day...
Yeah, it was a case of beer.
From probably 6 or 7 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon, so 5 to 6 hours. Does that sound right?
Probably.
Did you drink anything else?
Just a glass of water and his tea. I made iced tea because he begged for iced tea.
Steve had no traces of alcohol in his system the day of his death.
She said, I made him iced tea because he begged for iced tea. Why does your man have to beg for iced tea? Just make him some iced tea. You don't work. Slums, man, the slum of America. Beg for iced tea? What the heck is going on? But yet you want him to split his inheritance with you. You can't even make him iced tea. He has to beg for it. But you do not get grapes. So stop it. Search Shakir Aloysius is here to watch TV with us, but I think he's more so here for the snacks. Shakir, you gonna say hi to everybody? It's the only way I can get him up here for y'all to see. My stankum wankum. Come on, Toot. Oh, it's my Toot. Him want some grapes. Oh, Toot. He's a blue nose pit bull. And his mama's baby. He's my mama's baby. I love him. You need me to go get you a treat or something? You want a treat? I'm going to take a break and get my baby a treat, y'all.
Proven by a blood test and toxicology. So detectives know, clearly, Ina is lying through her teeth.
So I just have a lot of concerns here, okay? And I'm just going to be honest with you. You told the paramedics when they were there that morning or afternoon that he had been drinking till 5 in the morning, that he had been consuming alcohol. That's on body cam. Okay, you said he was drinking all day the day before and that he drank his last drink at 5 a.m. Okay, and now you're telling me
tea.
That's not what you say on this video. Okay,
I want to see this video.
Okay, well, I'm not going to show you the body cam. I'm just telling you that that's what's on there. There's reports that Wes came to the house that morning, and you said that Steve was at the walk-in clinic. He wasn't at the walk-in clinic.
Steve didn't want to see Wes anymore.
Okay, but Steve wasn't at the walk-in clinic.
He was at the hospital.
He wasn't at the hospital.
He just left with the ambulance when Wes showed up there.
That's not what's been reported to us. Wes was there prior to.
Yeah, the timestamps prove that.
I want a lawyer.
Okay, that's fine.
Realizing she's running out of options to defend herself, and with the detectives closing in, Ina resorts to something surprisingly clever as a last-ditch effort, asking for a lawyer.
Am I being arrested?
Nope, you're not being arrested. We're just talking. So, but if you want a lawyer, we can stop talking.
But I'm telling you the God honest truth. I don't know what happened. I wish I was there. I wish I was with him every second of the day that day. I wish I was, but I'm not his goddamn mom.
You asked for a lawyer, so now, okay, I'm not going to talk anymore. All right?
You guys are so awful. Fucking weird.
The second Ina realized the detectives saw right through her story, she folded under the pressure and insisted on a lawyer. Ina had finally realized her game was over. Following this interrogation, Ina would roam free while detectives scrambled for concrete evidence that she had poisoned Steve. Ina would continue fighting for her innocence, making more deranged theories, such as Steve drinking the antifreeze out of shame that the lawyer was a fraud, or that she had too been poisoned just months prior. Unfortunately for her, police managed to file a search warrant on apartment 912A, finding multiple alarming items. An old Windex bottle without a cap, containing a bright green liquid suspected to be antifreeze, as well as a Coors Light bottle containing antifreeze, found in the garage Steve had been working in that morning. This exact Coors Light bottle was what Ina used to poison Steve with. Antifreeze contains ethylene glycol, an ingredient that makes the liquid taste sweet. By mixing this with tea, Steve was fully unable to tell this fatal substance apart from his typical morning tea. Additionally, by hiding the liquids in the dark Coors Light bottle, Steve was unable to see the bright green color of this drink. With all of this newfound, completely incriminating evidence,
Even if it is sweet, that doesn't mean it tastes good. You know, just because it's sweet don't mean it tastes good. You mean tell me this girl didn't even clean up the evidence that she was poisoning this man? She's that lazy. That's what demon-possessed look like. A lot of times people want to find demon-possessed people and think that they look like someone from The Exorcist. No, they look like people just like that. They're not so alarming. But they're possessed.
as well as the numerous lies and false claims Ina had told law enforcement, she would finally be arrested on October 30th, 2024.
Oh God!
I know.
Please lock up my house.
Yeah, we'll lock up the house for you.
I'll give you.
She's got a bra on this time. That's good.
These are keys, but
We'll lock your house up for you.
why me?
So right now.
They always got a dog, don't they? Always got a dog. I mean, yeah, I got a dog too. My pit bull's sitting right here beside me right now. But at the same time, it's like my house is in a hot mess. We ain't got these kind of problems going on. But it seems like the people that be in the worst filth and can't barely take care of themselves have a dog or something to make them suffer through it with them. It's ridiculous.
We let you smoke a cigarette, you're gonna be decent?
Well, I'm decent all the time.
No, I never dealt with you, so just don't
Never been arrested before like this. Like, I've never done anything. I haven't done anything. It seems like I'm an easy scapegoat. That's all I am is an easy scapegoat. That's all I've ever been.
That's all I've ever been. Always, woe is me. Oh, I can't stand people like this. It's me all the time. And why do they put a cigarette in her mouth? And she's having a conversation just dangling out of her mouth. This is ridiculous. And I doubt if that cigarette will hit that ground, she's going to be able to have on a full conversation with the cigarette just bobbing out of her mouth like this and never fall. How? How do they do this?
If I was going to kill him, I would have killed him the day he lied to me and I found out he was doing drugs.
Just gonna grab your arm so you don't fall, right?
And I would have done it physically, not
Physically?
yeah. I'm a physical woman, not a
Nobody out here to watch the dogs? Just you? No friends or anything?
only one here.
You have any friends at work that would take them? We just don't want them to die on there, right?
Why? How long are you holding me?
We don't know. So we'll have our officers grab the dogs. We'll put a hold on them, all right?
Good. Thank you.
6 months following Ina's arrest, she would sit down in the courtroom for one final time, accepting a plea deal for the murder of Steve Riley. It had been a matter of principle for Ina throughout this entire investigation, staying true to her word no matter how delusional it sounded. But in this courtroom, Ina was left with no choice but to finally confess. Ina Thea Knoyer was charged with murder, intentional, knowing, or with extreme indifference of an adult victim. She was sentenced to life in prison. Her first chance at probation will come in 2050.
That is absolutely terrible. I was wondering if they were going to show us the part in which she was informed that it was all a scam. Like that would have tore her world apart. Not the fact that her so-called fiance died, but the fact that there was never any money that she was going to get. That would have tore her world up. But that's sad, man. I feel bad for Steve, man. I don't care what kind of lifestyle he had. I don't care that he was an alcoholic, a drug user, you know, on the system in some way, shape, or form, because he's got for saying he met at a homeless shelter. I don't care what. He didn't deserve to have his life taken away so that someone else can, in their opinion, live a better life. Like, that's not right, man. What do you guys think about it? Leave it in the comment section below. Like, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And while we're sitting here watching TV, go ahead and suggest to me some videos I should check out so we can watch those together. I thank you guys for watching. Go and have a great day and make good decisions. Take care. Bye-bye.